Okay, so I'm going to go to Discord and I'm going to share my screen. And there we go. Okay. So this is where we left off the project at the end of last time, and I'm going to press play to sort of see where we are and see what's going on. And I can aim and I can shoot, and the zombies are very fast because I was doing something with them at the end. So yes, they're very fast, but I can blow holes in them and they eventually will drop dead and die. So let's fix the zombie speed first. I can select both. In the hierarchy, you'll see that there's a little symbol in the upper right-hand corner that says if you hover over it, it says transform child order. What that does is it orders your transforms in the order you entered you added them to the scene. But I'm going to order them instead by alphabetical sorting, so that I can grab the zombies together much more easily. So that's what has changed in the hierarchy. I switched this thing. If you don't see that option, you may have to enable it. It should be enabled because you all should be working from the project that we started with. But if you need to on your own project, you go to Edit, Preferences, and you have to click Enable Alphanumeric Sorting, which should be checked here in the General and under Preferences. Anyway, that allows you to sort your transforms by alphabetically, which is usually the best way to find groups of things together. So I have both my zombies selected, and you'll see that there's a couple of things that have a weird symbol. You've got this double dash. We've got this double dash symbol here in speed. The reason is because zombie 1 has a speed of 10 and zombie 2 has a speed of 12. I want them both to have a speed of 3.5 though. So I'm going to select them both, and then if I enter 3.5 into that box, then it updates for both of them. So now they both have the same speed. So basically what this is saying is, for example, if you look at your transform X positions, the X value is dashed out because they start at different X values on the map. Let's see. Here. This zombie is at 249.8049, and this zombie is a little to his right at 252. I can, if I have them both selected, I can change it both to make both of them at 252, but now they're standing on top of each other. So it's okay for things to be, when you have multiple things selected, for things to, for one to be unknown or they can't display it. Just be aware of what that's trying to tell you. It's saying these two values, the values for the things that you selected are not the same. Also interesting, I'm going to hold down Control and select my player. Notice that a number of things disappeared. The reason is because it will only show you all of the components that selected objects have in common. So the selected objects all have transforms, capsules, because that's how we originally created the objects. They have mesh renderers that are turned off, and they have capsule colliders. But that's it. That's all the player and the zombies have in common right now. So anyway, Anthony asked a good question, which is if we go through this and play this again real quick, you'll see that oh wait, hang on. One other thing I want to change. I have changed the oh, my Fallout window thing messed up again. Sorry. Still haven't figured out that bug. And it's only in the editor. It's not a problem with the game. So it's just something you fix by doing that over and over. Anyway. Go back to alphanumeric sorting. Okay. So... Oh, yeah, I wanted to go fix their animator too. So I'm going to go to Window, Animation, Animator, and select my zombie. But remember, it's the model, not the container object. And my zombies are running really too fast right now, so I'm going to take their speed back down to 1, so they'll be running correctly. Both zombies use the same animator, so I'm just changing the main animator, so they're now both running at correct speed. So let's play it again, so our zombies aren't being insane. And I'm going to click Maximize on Play. And what Anthony pointed out is that correctly, the hitboxes are the blood effect is spawning at the edge of the hitbox. So the reason for that is because that's where we told it to spawn. And there's a couple of ways we can fix it to make it look more realistic. Let me slow the zombies way down so you can really see what we're talking about here. I'm going to hit play and wait for a zombie to come around the corner. And I'm going to shoot him and hit Control-Shift-P. Control-Shift-P pauses the game. And I really should bind that to some more convenient keys, but that's the default value. So let's look at the scene and see what we're looking at here. So I hit the first zombie, I believe. And because he's moving, he's actually stepping through the hit effect. So let me, I can also, this is interesting, I can skip forward one frame at a time so we can actually watch what it looks like. So, but if he's standing still directly in front of me, which he'll do in just a second, I'll pause it. Okay, so they're both satisfied with how close they are to me. Get ready with my Control-Shift-P, I'm going to shoot. And you can see, looking down using our widget, that the hit effect is actually, if I select the right zombie, is actually at the outside of the capsule, not inside the zombie. So it looks a little bit like it's floating in front of her. So to fix that, we can do a couple of things. We can have it spawn inside by changing how our shot handler handles stuff. But then we'd have to remember that we'd offset that every time we use the shot handler impact to spawn any impact. And since what we're going to talk about today is spawning some other impacts, we should probably not do that. So the other way we can do it is we can get the effect itself. So this is my effects, and it's called Effect New Blood Spurt, I think, is what we were using. I can check in the player to see what the shot handler is using. Yeah, it's using the new Blood Spurt. I can drag the Effect New Blood Spurt into the scene. I'm going to use my widget to make sure it's up off the ground. I'm going to drag the Y handler up so it's up off the ground a little bit so you can watch it play out. I'm going to hit Blood Spurt Fountain and hit Restart. And you'll notice that the Blood Spurt Fountain, if I restart, which is the thing coming forward, is already offset a little bit. If I set it to 0 and click Restart, you'll see that it spawns at the same origin point that the Blood Spurt ring spawns at. But I'm going to move the whole thing, I'm going to grab the Z transform and move it backwards about half a meter. Or actually I'll make it a third of a meter. There. So if I click Restart, it's hard to see what the difference is, but the parent object is now a little bit forward of where the spawning happens. So the parent object is here, and the Blood Spurt Fountain is a little behind it, which is why the Z is set off by negative 0.3. And the Blood Spurt ring is at that same point because its offset is 0 in X, Y, and Z. So now when it spawns, it should spawn more inside the zombies. However, we haven't saved it yet. We have made a change, so we're going to click Overrides, and you'll see that it will say, hey, you made a change to this prefab item to the transform. Do you want to apply this to all of the blood spurts in the world? And the answer, of course, is yes, I do. So now, let's try we can delete this. If we open and drag back into the scene, I can click on this and select Blood Spurt Fountain, and what I expect is to see the transform handles move back into Z space, and they do. So let's delete that because we don't need it in the scene. And now I'm gonna let the zombies come at me. And let them get stationary. And I'm gonna fire and pause. And if I lose my widget, you can see that it's make it orthographic. You can see that it's clearly like in the center of the zombie now, which might make a little bit nicer effect. The shoot effect is kind of dramatic right now, and I probably want to revisit it. I was playing around with it myself, my version of the game, because it's a little dramatic, but we're going to leave it for right now. What we want to do instead, though, is notice that there's a couple of things that don't make any sense that we're going to have to deal with. Oh, sorry. So let's change the camera distance from the virtual camera that's looking down on the player. Currently is set at a height of 10. I'm going to set that up to 20 to sort of highlight the problem that we're having. Okay. So One thing is I can shoot through the walls. That's not ideal. I mean, it's helpful. But the other thing is, I'm going to come over here and aim at the dead zombie. And notice that his blood spurt is still happening. The reason is because in the game, his capsule collider and everything are still active. So we need to disable those when the zombies die so that they don't impact anything. Also, if you notice, I killed the first zombie and the second zombie tried to navigate around it because nav mesh agents won't run over other nav mesh agents, so you don't have to, which is great for AI. I don't have to tell them, hey, don't run into each other. But so we need to disable his nav mesh agent and his capsule collider after he is dead. So we're going to go and we are going to handle that in the health script. So we're going to say if is dead, in other words, if my current health is less than 0. And also, the way this is written, it's going to check this this update check is going to set dead to true over and over and over and over and over. So we only want it to do that once when the zombie dies. So I'm going to say if my health is less than 0 and I use the ampersand twice, and that means both of these things logically have to be true. And and not is dead. Then set the dead to true. So what this is saying is, if my current health is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, and meaning, and this is the logical and, meaning both of these things have to be true for this if statement to be processed. And my is dead flag is set to false, and I want the opposite of, and since I want them to both be true, I set it to the opposite. So this is saying my health is less than 0, and my is dead flag is currently set to false. Set my is dead flag to true, and then we're going to do some other stuff. Once I set the is dead flag to true, this part of the expression will always evaluate to false. So this and will keep this chunk of logic from processing over and over. Because if you're dead, then this is false, so the and is not true, so this if is not satisfied, so this logic is not processed. I'm not sure if I explained that well, but I'm going to move on anyway. Okay, so what we did before with the reason this is commented out is we set the cube to disappear when it got killed. That was how we demonstrated death originally. So that's why this game object.setActive false is in this logic. What we're going to do is we're going to say if GameObject.getComponent capsule collider then GameObject.getComponent capsule collider dot set active enabled is equal to false. Okay, so this says if I have a capsule collider on this object, then set it to false because I'm dead. And similarly, I can just copy and paste this logic. Control C and do Control V and change this capsule colliders to nav mesh agents, except for that I don't have access to nav mesh agents because I'm not using Unity Engine.ai. And now I have access to nav mesh agent. Okay. So basically what this is doing is saying if I have a nav mesh agent, turn it off. If I have a capsule collider, turn it off. I'm going to click save. And the reason that we do that is because if we have things that have health that don't have capsule colliders or don't have nav mesh agents, like the player doesn't have a nav mesh agent, we don't want the game to break when the player gets killed trying to turn off its nav mesh agent, which does not exist. You'll see me use this pattern over and over. Okay. So now, shoot my zombie. I can still shoot through the walls. Uh-oh. Okay, so the problem is that I'm calling stop on the NavMesh agent, but I also disabled his NavMesh agent. So his NavMesh agent should be turned off. It is. And so the logic that tells the zombie to stop is still running because its health is less than 0. So we need to figure out what's causing the zombie to stop moving and make sure that we turn the NavMesh agent off after the stop has been called. So let's open a zombie AI. Okay. So it's doing the check to see if it's dead, and that will only be true after it's dead. And after it's dead, we stop the NavMesh agent. But before that, we disable the NavMesh agent. So instead of doing it in health, let's put it in. I'm going to hit Control X. And we'll put it in here, and we'll put it after the NavMesh agent stop. In fact, we don't even have to do all this nonsense because we know that this has a NavMesh agent. My NavMesh agent dot enabled is equal to false. Okay, so this is gonna. The problem is that this is what programming is like when I'm doing it on the fly. What I'm realizing is that it's going to try and stop the NavMesh agent on the next frame because the my health dot is dead is going to be true, which means it'll get in here to this else logic. So I'm going to create a public boolean. Called is disabled, and is disabled is going to start as true, and I'm going to concatenate this, and is disabled actually I don't want it there. Here, if my health dot is dead and not is disabled, meaning I have not already disabled the NavMesh agent, then tell it to stop and disable it, and then set is disabled equal to true. Yeah, that'll work. So it will not get to this block of logic anymore because it disable will be true, which means this part of the expression will be false, which means this and will not be satisfied, which means the if will not be processed. Cool. Okay, so I've made some changes. You see I've changed now zombie AI simple and health CS. All it's going to do is disable the capsule collider. I can save both of them by clicking on save all or hitting Control Shift S. Flip back over to Unity. I think that's going to solve all of those problems. Hit play. Nope. Well, okay. It is solved. It sort of solved the problem. Let me give him a lot less health because the problem is he's getting too close to me. Set his current health to 5. And I'll do the same thing for her. So I should kill him.
I'm having a problem in Unity where when I'm shooting my game will just pause randomly.
It's probably because the console is trying to give you a message. Are you getting an error at the bottom?
No, I'm not. I don't seem to be.
Okay, it would be down. It would be down here. When you're shooting, it pauses. Like the oh.
Like it just flat out it pauses. There we go. Stop can only be called on an active agent that has been placed on a nav mesh. So I think there's a problem with my health script.
Yep. So in health, I should have I removed it in the health
Oh,
script
there it
entirely.
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then put it over here in the zombie AI.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it that way. Okay, let's press play, and yeah, the problem is he's okay. Okay, so what's happening now is the NavMesh agent is still setting its destination to me, so it's not stopping until it reaches its last destination. So we're introducing problems by changing the logic, because this worked just fine a minute ago. Okay, so hey guys, I'm getting a call. I'm sorry, I'm getting a call from my office. Let me stop this stream here.